We're here at Private Equity US East in Boston. I'm with Maud Brown, Managing Director of Private Equity North America for Investcorp. Thank you for joining us, Maud.
Thank you for having me.
So we're here to talk about the middle market. So as we know, middle market in the US has seen nearly continuous growth over the last decade. However, for Q1 of this year, data shows that deal activity actually slowed compared to Q1 of 2018. Midway through 2019, what's your assessment of the overall health of the middle market?
So, volumes is relative, right? Because we all invest into specific strategies. What I can tell you is that from an Investcorp perspective, we invested into 5 new platform investments over the past 18 months. And 2 of these were done in the first half of this year. So certainly from our perspective, we're not seeing any slowdown. We're not seeing a shortage of activity and a shortage of opportunities to invest into. And today, our companies remain, the firm, our team remains very busy, and we're seeing a lot of good investment opportunities. So, maybe the market overall is slowing down. We're not seeing it in our deal volume or in our deal activities. So we continue to feel that there is a robust environment for us to find the right opportunities to invest into.
Okay. And among the most attractive segments for middle market deal makers has been technology. Do you expect that to continue for the remainder of this year into 2020?
So I think, there's some one of the things that we're focusing on is on micro trends, and there are some really powerful micro trends that are driving that. Be it digital transformation, so a lot of companies who are not digitally natives, who are looking to become more digital as they're, looking to interact with their customer segments and differentiate themselves. So there are just, there's billions of dollars. You open the papers every day and there's just a lot of, from the multinationals to the mid-market, everybody's investing into that segment. So that in turn fuels demand for, I think, technology and technology services as a whole. Digital transformation specifically, war for talent, and technology has been an investment theme of ours. We earlier this year backed a company called Recession that trains college grads to get into the technology world. And what we thought was very interesting into that company is that it addressed the supply side of that market. There's a lot of demand for those services, but very few companies that are looking to actually provide more supply into that market. And so we think this is a theme that's here to last, and we decided to invest into that theme.
Okay. So as we go through 2019, there's increasing talk of a possible recession in the future, perhaps the near future. How do you think a slowing economy might affect the middle market and PE overall?
Right. So listen, we are 10, 11 years into an expansion cycle. Every day you open the papers and you see reason why the cycle could turn. Is it a risk? Is it an opportunity? We're very rigorous into our investment criteria in making sure that we stay focused on the segments that we know best, and really stay. Because we know them best, we can understand the thesis we're willing to underwrite, the type of growth we're willing to underwrite, and that is a way that we use to look to potentially mitigate the market. There's a lot of scrutiny in our investment committee and amongst us as partners as to how would a company behave in the downturn and how we think about that. And we look to put in place capital structures that would withstand a potential economic slowdown. On the other hand, it may create a buying opportunity, because once you go through the downturn, buyers and sellers' expectations need to realign a little bit, but then you position yourself in a time where there's a window where you can make some really powerful investments. So, we're observing the market. We're looking at developing strategies also for our portfolio company on how to prepare, and it's both offensive and defensive. It's not just about working, capital structures or cost structures. It's also about how you take advantage of a slower market. Some of our best investments in the Great Recessions were companies where we actually doubled down, put more money to work, bought competition, bought market share, and this ended up to be being a great outcome. So we really thinking long and hard about how we can take advantage of that.
Okay. So switching gears a little bit, so you're a woman in a senior role in finance. Could you talk a little bit about how you got here and what inspired you to head into this career?
So how I got here was 20-something years ago. So, I always had an interest for the world of business, I suppose, and then going through business schools, I realized that finance was a very natural language for me, and corporate finance in particular. So I decided to, go into investment banking, and then private equity came relatively quickly after that. I've been in with Investcorp since 2001, and it's an incredibly rewarding segment. I mean, from a very early age in our careers, we interact with C-level executives, we in the room when strategies are being discussed. And so, from a personal perspective, it's just, it's very rewarding. We hosted today a lunch, a women-only lunch, about, what women in finance and how we can foster and develop networks to continue, because diversity and is a common theme. You hear LPs, GPs talk about that all the time and how we foster that. I think it has to start from the bottom up and recruiting better, but more importantly, retaining better, because coming out of business school, the ratio is actually quite even. Even banks have done a better job at hiring juniors more at parity level. The issue is that a lot of women decide to leave, and so it's how we create those networks to allow women to feel confident that they belong, they're not treated differently. There were women talking about, in the lunch, being passed over for potential opportunities or promotions because their team or their bosses thought they may be in the future having children, and why would that, so as a result, they were not given an opportunity. So we talked about having advocates and sponsors in the room, more than mentors, and how we have other women or other team members who are helping women think through those critical stages in their career, so they stay in the work, so they stay in the industry and don't decide to go out. I've always felt incredibly lucky personally, because I had the choice. I could choose. I could work, or I could, if I decided to stay home and raise our three boys, I could have decided to do that. The good news, I had the choice. The bad news, I had the choice. But in a way, our profession we're also incredibly fortunate in that we can afford to have, some help, and it's a choice that we really make at a personal level, and decided to stay engaged and committed to what we do and personal growth.
We'll see how the industry changes in the years ahead.
I hope we get more of us around.
Well, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.